Now, how does the database work? That's the question, correct? So, we already understood how the Excel application basically works. We know that Excel application has something called tab sheets, and each tab sheet will consist of rows and columns, and every column will be given with an data type, and column name with the data type together is called to be the schema. This is what we know, correct? So, when you try to compare the same thing with your database, how does it look like? That is what we are going to do now. So, if you compare the database with an Excel sheet, the spreadsheet is called to be the database itself. That means you have a spreadsheet where you have tab sheets within it, and we can call that spreadsheet itself as a database, where it is holding the employee information, under a spreadsheet we have something called the tab sheets, and these tab sheets can be called to be the tables in the context of a database. Now, rows will be called as a rows, and columns are still to be called as a columns, and every column has to be mapped with data type. It's still the same. Even when you define a table inside a database, at the time of defining a table, you will tell which column should be what data type. Okay, that will be clearly been called out while creating a table inside a database. Okay, so now if you look at the important jargons, when I call jargons are nothing but the important words that everyone should need to understand to work with a database. What are the important jargons? One is the database itself, that means the database name. In our case, Facebook_friends, and this particular and other important jargon is the table that you create inside a database, which is similar to the tab sheet inside a spreadsheet, as simple as it is. Now, the table will also be given with a name, which is friends in our case, and now every table will have columns and rows. The first important thing is the columns. Without columns you cannot insert rows. Am I right or wrong? So, every column will be given with a name along with a data type. How many columns we have here for say? 3 columns. What are they? Name, age and city. And you could see the rows that are being added to this table under the respective columns. That means the values of each column is being given in the form of a rows, correct? That means each row is a combination of multiple columns, correct? That means this is one row, this is another row, this is another row. These are all the combination of columns. Am I right or wrong? You could see clearly over here in this particular slide. And there are some important jargons called to be the schema, which we already know. The schema is nothing but column name plus the data type. So, what is the importance of schema? Schema will always restrict the values that you insert into a particular column. That means if you say the ID to be the numbers, that means that particular column at any point in time should only contain numbers. It cannot have the strings or another data types into it. And if you take a name and city, at any point in time they should be only having the strings, and the age will always be numeric, correct? So, should always be the numeric at any point in time. And we will also be having something called primary keys and foreign keys. We will also be looking at them. And what database we are talking about today? That's important, correct? So, the database that we are gonna use is a MySQL database. What's that? MySQL database. So, MySQL database falls under RDBMS family. RDBMS is nothing but relational database management systems. So, it falls under relational database management system. We have several such families, correct? One of it is a NoSQL. So, we have several such database. We have several databases are under RDBMS and also NoSQL. Okay, RDBMS is majorly, if you look at the databases under this family, we have Oracle database, we have PostgreSQL, we have MySQL, we have several such things. Okay, what is a relational database? That is what we are going to understand in this session, which is a SQL session. And we will be using SQL as a language to communicate with your database, as simple as it is. As I've been keep telling, correct, human knows English. Database and any application that you run within your computers understand only ones and zeros. The easiest language that human can communicate with the databases is NoSQL, which is a structured query language. Okay, is this clear to everyone? Anyone have any questions still here?